bystanders at News Things on 50TV. Of course, it's the weekend edition of this program, and Mike Aladokule is keeping us right here with you at Ogba News 10. Quickly to what we have on today's edition of this program, we have for you the Nation newspaper and the Punch newspaper. Let's quickly read out what we have on the front pages of these two journals. The Nation, with a very, very good headline here, was the headline talking about still the NSAS. Massive looting in Lagos, Kwara, Osun, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, others. Massive looting in Lagos, Kwara, Osun, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, others. On to the next one. Let's see what the governor of Lagos State is saying. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. My earth bleeds over level of destruction. My earth bleeds over a level of destruction. That's what the governor is saying here. Relaxes curfew. Movement now 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. 23 police officers, army captain face trial for murder, brutality. On to the next one. How to prevent future protests by Gowon or Basajo. Others. Quickly to the rider. We have hoodlums back Lagos roads despite Buhari's plea. We have other stories here. Houses burnt as ethnic clashes resume in Fagba suburb. Houses burnt as ethnic clashes resume in Fagba suburb. Of course, I was there to capture what happened in that axis. We have angry youth raise shuttle buses in Ondo State. DPO station manager killed in Anambra. Why Buhari didn't speak on Lekki shooting? That's what presidency is saying here. Protest organizer got 147.8 million naira cash donations. Want curfew obeyed. We have some pictures on the front page of this paper, and what are the pictures illustrating? We have looters plundering COVID-19 palliative warehouses in Ilorin. We still have another one here in Osun State. That's Osogbo, Osogbo. Lekki shooting, what people are not talking about, by DJ Switch. What people are not talking about, by DJ Switch. Of course, DJ Switch was at that scenario that took place in Lekki, capturing it live. She was there live, dishing out the information to the world. On to the next one. Lekki shootings. U.S. reaffirms visa ban for anti-democratic officials. Others. NSAS protests. Can Islamic Council knock Buhari's aid for implicating religious bodies? We have other stories on the front page of these journals. Retired generals condemn shootings. Probe begins Monday. Lagos orders one hoodlums as looting. Essen continue. Talks break national silos. Warehouse in Osun, Kwara, Cross River, Ekiti State. 16 SAS operatives indicted for killings in Lagos, Kaduna, Imo, others. Quickly to our reviewers for more topical analysis on these stories. How bright back. Welcome to the program once more. It's been a while.
That is the situation we find ourselves.
What situation?
The crisis in the nation. The irresponsible nature of our government.
Wow.
Is unfortunate.
Is that why we didn't see you?
We allow abiding citizens, since they declare coffee, we have to abide by the coffee. But that notwithstanding, nobody is happy with the monumental loss of lives as a result of recklessness on the part of the security agencies.
Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State, said his heart bleeds because of the loss in Lagos State. And looking at it, there have been blames apportioned to the governor of Lagos State in person of Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the president of the country, Muhammadu Buhari, and the national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on this NSAS crisis. Now, would you throw blames on these three political gladiators?
Mr. Mike, if you ask me, I will absorb the governor of any culpability, of any blame. I have my reasons. We all know in this country that the command and control system of the police, not to talk of the army, is not in the purview of the governor, constitutionally. We have seen similar scenarios play out in the past. We have seen a situation where someone like Jonah Jang, as a governor of Plateau State, have said that even as the chief security officer of the state, that he did not command a fly. We have seen a situation where Amechi was the governor of Rivers State. The then commissioner of police, who incidentally was one Joseph Mbu or so, said that as a commissioner of police that he had tamed the governor. So to set the record straight, the governor do not command the army. So what happened? I think the blame should be heaped at the doorstep of Mr. President. And Mr. President should take all the blame. And not just taking the blame, Mr. President should account for any life that is lost. Because you cannot tell me that you, as the commander of the armed forces, the military personnel will open fire on armed citizens who are merely waving Nigerian flag in submission to sovereignty of Nigeria. And you are addressing the nation, you are not mentioning it. For me, it is height of recklessness and it's condemnable. And Mr. President must also a duty to make sure that the perpetrators of that heinous crime should be brought to book.
Now, before the curfew was imposed, Nigerians expected the president to come out and address the nation, which at the end of the day, it turned out negative when he would eventually addressed the nation. They expected words of sympathy from the president, which he didn't say. Now, don't you think the president is kind of, I'm sorry to use this, biased in tackling issues concerning protests in the country? Because we've seen several times Nigerians took to the streets to protest, and the security operatives under the leadership of the president clamped down on the protesters.
Mr. Abba, if you ask me, I will tell you that if not for decorum, I will tell you that his silence was like a criminal silence. Because there was no basis for which he remained silent in the face of brutality, in the face of killing of innocent citizens, in the face of maiming, in the face of even what looks like extermination of a people. There was no basis for the silence for that long. And when he eventually spoke, the speech did not represent the facts. The crucial of the matter was omitted. Because to be quite honest with you, what escalated the crisis, or what even instigated the crisis in the first place, is the shooting and killing of those peaceful protesters at Lekki toll gate. Hitherto, there was no violence of that magnitude. It was after that killing, the government subsequently imposed a curfew. Mr. Man, let me tell you this. You know that the curfew was supposed to start by 4 p.m. People protested that the timing was wrong. The governor, in his wisdom, extended it to 9 p.m. But the shooting started way before that 9 p.m. So by our standard, there was no basis for the shooting. Because even the people at the toll gate were not yet disobeying any order. So there was no justification behind the shooting. And even if they were disobeying the curfew, shooting was not the best option because they were not violent. So to start with, for the fact that they were not obeying any order of the government, there was no basis for even deploying the military because they were not violent in nature. Now, I think Mr. President must do us a duty of being a responsible leader by getting to the root of this. But I have a fear. My fear, I feel, is genuine because we have seen incidences of this nature in the past where Mr. President's lukewarm attitude do not make us see the light of the day. I can categorically remind you of the incident that happened with IG Special Squad that were killed in Taraba State under the supervision of a Nigerian army, the captain of the Nigerian army. As we speak today, irrespective of the fact that the panel set up by Chief of Defence Staff have indicted those military personnel, including the captain, as at the last count, we understand that they were excluded from prosecution. So what is the guarantee that Mr. President will do the needful, even as he was asking people that their voices have been heard loud and clear, that they should retire to their homes, which I actually agree because everybody is seeking for de-escalation of the whole issue. But what is the guarantee that Mr. President will do the needful? Because his lukewarm attitude, his antecedents do not give such credence that he can do the needful. So what I'm saying is, if this is what it takes for Mr. President to turn a new leaf, to start having positive, being proactive, I think Mr. President should wake up to his responsibilities. Okay. Because for me, this is pure negligence at the highest order, pure dereliction of duty. If need be, by now, I think Mr. President should throw away the trowel. Okay. Yes, because if the welfare of the citizens do not matter to you, look at all his speech. He never made mention of anybody that was killed extrajudicially by these rampaging criminals in military uniforms at that toll gate. He never made mention of it. And on to the fact that that Lekki toll gate shooting is what escalated the whole thing. So that speech, for me, it makes no sense without mentioning that incident that happened at toll gate, because that is what escalated the whole crisis. Now, look at the way all stakeholders globally are on the same page condemning the activities of Nigerian army. Look at the irresponsible nature of our Nigerian army coming in the first instance to claim that it's fake news, that it may not be military personnel. People who were caught on camera, there are so many video clips circulating on the internet that allude to the fact that they are military personnel. Recently, whether yesterday or 2 days ago, some diplomats from United States of America visited the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Osinbajo, telling him that the perpetrators must be brought to justice. And it's unfortunate, I sympathize with Osinbajo, because I've seen his antecedents, I've seen speeches he have made before this thing escalated. I see that man as a man of honor, as a man of integrity, as somebody who would have done this thing differently if the purview to do it was on his table. It's unfortunate that the buck rests with Mr. President, and Mr. President is not giving us a purposeful leadership. So it's unfortunate that Osinbajo did not have the total control to do the needful. Because as a professor of law, and having seen his statements, his antecedents, the decision he have taken while he held sway as the president, he would have done it differently. I can categorically tell you that. Look at what transpired when Mr. President was not on seat as a result of e-heads. How Osinbajo swung into action and made sure that the then DSS headsman, who acted recklessly, was relieved of his position. I don't think Mr. President would have done that if he were to be in the saddle. So it's unfortunate that Mr. President is not leading us aright. And it's unfortunate that they even tried to change the narrative. They tried to give it a political coloration. To be quite honest with you, this thing is devoid of political coloration. It's devoid of political undertone. It is a genuine intention for Nigerians who are fed up of high-handedness of these so-called SARS, these so-called policemen, these so-called criminals in police uniform. Mr. Mike, let me tell you this. I was reading this morning that even the panel, presidential panel on police reform, have even submitted a report of police high-handedness to Mr. President since June last year. Can you imagine that it is in the wake of this crisis that Mr. President deemed fit to submit that report to Police Service Commission, to IG and all the relevant stakeholders? So if somebody who is not known to be proactive have been acting in this manner, what is the guarantee that we are likely going to see him being proactive now? I don't think so. Except otherwise Mr. President will prove me wrong and prove every other person that thinks the way I think wrong. For now, I don't think he's interested in. He doesn't have value of life. He doesn't have value for life. I can categorically tell you that. Why am I saying so? We cannot, it's unended if we continue reminding ourselves of the lackadaisical attitude of this Mr. President. Mr. Mark, remember this. Some time ago, sharp members who barricaded the way in Zaria against the chief of the army staff. After, according to the military personnel that came to testify on behalf of Nigerian military, when Kaduna State government instituted a panel of inquiry, the guy that came to testify on behalf of Nigerian military said that after all entreaty to sharp members to vacate the road, proved abortive, they had to shoot their way through. And in that shooting, they killed, according to the secretary to Kaduna State government, he said while they were doing interment at the dead of the night, he counted 347 corpses. This is reckless waste of life. And get me right, I'm not holding brief for sharp members, but I'm speaking on the backdrop that life is sacrosanct. You don't waste life when it's avoidable. Look at how they mismanage the situation in Lagos State. To be crying out loud, the damage that has been done is more than the laws they would have gotten if they allow this protest, they address it in a peaceful manner. Mr. Man, can you cast your mind back? Recently, when there was a white protest in the United States of America over the killing of Floyd, at the level of White House, protesters were engaging security service, what you call DSS in Nigeria. They were pushing them. Those ones were pushing them back. But there was no release of any firearm. There was no brutality. There was no maiming. There was no killing. But here in Lagos, here in Nigeria, at the Lekki toll gate, people were waving Nigerian flag in solidarity to sovereignty of Nigerian state. You have a support Nigerian army being equipped by supposed Nigerian money, opening fire on them. What a regrettable, terrible incident. It makes me mad. It makes, I don't know, I cannot fathom what would have went into the minds of those military personnel. Is this a democracy?
And the governor said he's not really aware of that.
I tell you, I can excuse the governor. I've given you my reason. The reason is because the governor, that it is very skeptical. Because Tinubu can categorically tell you that he's not commander of the armed forces. But I cannot excuse him. The reason I say I cannot excuse him is because we saw the manner talks were being sponsored to go and disrupt peaceful protesters both in Abuja, in Lagos, and it can only happen when a big shot, a great stakeholder is backing it. Mr. Mike, I listened to a retired director of DSS, okay, and they asked him on channel, the guys who were riding on jeep in Abuja disrupting peaceful protesters, did you have a sense of who they are? He said he called the highest authority of DSS, and they told him that these are security details of a senator. And according to him, those guys have been arrested. So it tells you that this thing is not happening, it's not by coincidence. The government, either tacitly, either diplomatically, is the one that sponsored the talks that disrupt the system. Because if you, as a security personnel, are tied to a senator, leave your point of duty, go and start shooting and maiming and killing and disrupting peaceful protesters. What does that portray? And the authority could not call you to order until damage have been done. So for me, the government owns a duty to come and apologize to Nigerians, and we must get it right. Otherwise, nothing will be acceptable from Mr. President except an apology to Nigerians for this unwanted waste of life. Thank you very much.
Raphael, we are here today.
My brother Michael.
And the country is not really. Can we go? Okay. Okay, still on the NSAS protest / crisis, because at the end of the day, it emanated into mayhem.
Mayhem, yeah.
Mayhem, which Nigerians were not expecting at all.
Yes.
The president addressed the nation. We all knew that, and we still know.
The address was, marred with hopelessness.
That's what Nigerians are saying.
It has not made any sense at all.
At all.
As you can see, the mayhem going on, is not caused by the protesters. There are two people in this stage, in this issue.
Yeah.
Two people in this issue.
That's what I want to ask you.
Thank you.
People have been laying allegations against the former Lagos State governor, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
yeah,
the incumbent governor of the state, Sanwo-Olu, and President Muhammadu Buhari himself. Of course, Sanwo-Olu has come out to say that is not happy with the level of destruction that took place in the states.
Yeah.
The president also said that he will not allow thuggery, hooliganism, to overrun the government.
Yeah.
Of course, I would say is a part of what went on at the Lekki toll gate.
Yeah.
But what can you say? What can you fish out from all this?
Yeah.
We've been speaking, Nigerians have been speaking, talking about what happened, especially at Lekki toll gate.
Anyway, SACS issue brought the first aggravation, aggravated, let's call it, overreactions from people. You understand? SACS issue. So which which, generated into
Can you face it?
into the normal protests which the youth carried out, normal, peaceful protests, as an aggravation of SARS or police brutality on innocent Nigerian youths. So then, now, see what happened again. As the protest was going on, everybody knew that the whole world support the protest, the whole Nigerians support the protest. But at a stage, the soldier, the police, the security forces, they were like, let us go and attack these people. Because let me tell you, Michael, obviously everybody in the world know about what NATO can do, about what United Nations, international law says about anarchy or lawlessness in any government as a sovereign state. Nigeria is a sovereign state, you know that. That if a protest like that lingers till 30 days, it's obviously indicated that the president is not competent to handle the affairs of such.
And there will be intervention of
the international communities. So these boys were doing their job, they were going on and peacefully, making their grievances known, their demands, demonstrating peacefully, playing music. You understand? I think you see, those guys are not wicked. Those guys are friendly to everybody. The traffic, we are moving, people we are trading, people are, the government officials, office holders, public office holders, they were working.
Even the entertainment
industry, they were working. Everybody,
they did not came there to entertain them.
Thank you. Did not interrupt anybody. They did not disrupt any business activities. You understand? Everything was going on normal, smoothly. So at a stage, this threat from this security, forces in Nigeria, from soldier, from police, before it got out of hand. And we saw it on the paper. People were advising soldiers, do not go and attack the innocent protesters. Do not go and attack unarmed Nigerians. Do not go and attack youths that with Nigerian flag. That's a great, these people indicated great resilience and love for their country by flying our banner, which is green, white, green. They still insisted. We all understand that someone collided with the military. Someone rolled out the military. They went there and attacked these youth in the dark. Imagine. No light. The light went on. The youth were there. They testified that they saw someone that went up and caught the light. The military came later. The soldiers, they came and deactivated the cameras. Do you understand? Cut all of them. Shot. Let me tell you. Then they came again now. Everywhere was dark. My brother, even the bigger billboard that was, illuminating the place went off. They were the one that cut it off. Then they started shooting. Those youths testified that in the beginning, they started shooting upstairs. This is a real eyewitness. The guy was one of them. Shooting in the air. The guy, obviously, those guys anchoring the protest said, hold Nigerian banner. Everybody should hold the banner, the flag. These guys hold the banner as they were singing, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria calls obey," our national anthem. The soldiers were shooting up. All of a sudden, they faced the guns, shooting those guys in the darkness. So that was how chaos escalated. They shot from 7:30 till, I think, 3:30 a.m. They did not relent. They concentrated, shooting these guys, shooting these guys, shooting these guys, until some of them were running to the beach. Lekki, Lekki has international water now, the Atlantic Ocean. Some were thrown into the beach there. Some were, wounded. The wounded were thrown into the water. Some ran into canals. You don't know the level of casualties sustained at toll gate there. Let me tell you, they were over tents. They died in their tents. It was the popular one that are made known now. Those actresses, those actors, those people that were performing, those fine guys. She understand that computer guy, okay, died. She understand. The guy that said Nigeria will not kill him, or the guy was with Nigerian flag. Let me tell you, within about 3 hours after that guy made that statement, the guy was mown down by bullets, with bullets.
Now, would you tag these three persons as killers of the peaceful protesters? Tinubu, Buhari, and Sanwo-Olu.
Well, let me say something here. from the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, then the tornadoes, then the candle. Let me name them. The blood of the slain, the youths that were killed, the fat of the mighty, the police chiefs, DPO that were slain, killed. Then the tornado itself is the atmosphere of Nigeria. Are you listening to me now? Then the chief actor of everything is Muhammad Buhari. If he is a competent president, it wouldn't have happened like this. I'm telling you. The wind, the whirlwind, the tornado is Nigeria. Nigeria country is never a settled atmosphere. Nigeria country has never been favorable to Nigerian youths. Nigeria country has never been suitable to all of us to live. It is not a conducive country.
President Muhammad Buhari has been seen as someone that doesn't have respect for rule of law.
Michael.
Don't you see it this time around?
Yes, it is played out this time around. The international communities can see by themselves. Americans, Europeans, they can see by themselves.
We've seen it this time around.
Thank you. They are watching online.
Because over the years, we've seen the government clamping down on protesters.
Yes.
Peaceful protesters.
Yes. Clamp down started when this government started. That was 2015. They don't want anybody to say no. All they want from us is to say yes. Repression, oppression, yes, 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 yes. No matter how they do you, no matter what happened to you from the government of Nigeria, you should say yes, 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 yes. No protest, nothing. This is the first time in 6 years the youths came out to say no, it is too much. And look at what happened now. They paid the price with their life and souls in pence. Buhari regime has never been protested. Michael, go and Google it. Nobody has ever protested against Buhari regime. Nobody. During Obasanjo regime, we protested. We went out when increased fuel price. We protested on the street of Lagos. Everywhere in Nigeria, there was civil unrest. But the first time Nigerian youths, nationally, internationally, protested against this regime is the first time we see soldiers shooting people with Nigerian flag. Nigerian flag was drained in their blood. It has never happened in the history of the world. Once you have the flag of your country, you can do anything. Nobody should shoot you. Americans protest with their flags. Their youths, American youths, they protest with their flag during the death, police, senseless killing of George Floyd. They could not shoot those guys because they were with American banner, flag, national banner. But look at Nigerian own. They roll out soldiers there. Those soldiers went there. They open fire on unarmed youths. Michael, it is an eyesore. It has never happened before in the history of the world. Even Hitler could not have done this. The greatest beast himself that faced the whole world. German youths were not maimed and killed. Who the hell does Buhari think he is?
We're at that spot today, and I really felt it's within my spirit, body and soul. It was a pathetic situation in that place. These three persons, like I told some of our reviewers, have been tagged as people that really encouraged the Nigerian soldiers to perpetrate that kind of act. So Muhammad Buhari is the first person. Allegations against Tinubu as the leader of the leader of the All Progressive Congress and the governor of Lagos State. So of course, it's not only in Lagos State we experienced killings, but the Lekki Gate was a massive one. Your take on this?
Yes, they cannot be totally absorbed in this complicity. Why? Because, first of all, the so-called president himself, or whosoever is impersonating him in Aso Rock, because there have been confirmation that allegations, of course, that he is not a person. Somebody somehow, is impersonating the president. And the president, of course, wouldn't have been so heartless as we are seeing today. You see, of course, he remains whosoever, he remains of course, the president of Nigeria. He remains, of course, the Grand Commander of Armed Forces. So, and according to order of activities, there is no person that should take order except from him. And being that, of course, Sanwo-Olu is the governor of the state, the chief security of the state, he also should take responsibility in the sense that somebody ordered that the billboard be turned off. The lights there was turned off. There was dismantling of the CCTV camera around these premises.
Which Sheyi Tinubu confirmed that it was on the governor's order.
Yes.
Yeah, the governor's order. Yeah.
The Sheyi Tinubu confirmed that it was instruction from the governor. How could the governor? I mean, someone who has lost his credibility, he has lost the respect I even had for him before now. And how could you, at this particular time, when the teeming population of the Nigerian youths are clamoring for a better governance, a better change, harmless people were massacred. You see, many people, hundreds of them, of course, had to fall into the canal and into the ocean because most of them are not familiar with swimming. You see, it's only somebody that can swim, not the techniques, the skill of swimming that can survive it. So the rate of casualties have not yet been ascertained. Ascertained, yes. Because it is beyond what we are seeing or the media is reporting. So the governor himself should be held responsible. He has to have so many questions to answer in regard to this. Why could you, I mean, you are the one that gave an executive order that there should be clamped down, there should be coffee 24 hours, and you also know the implication, the security implication of switching off the lights. You understand that as the chief security of the state, and you also gave order that the CCTV cameras should be dismantled.
Turned off.
Yeah, dismantled and disconnected, and the source of light there was off. So it means there is something, there is a premeditated action. It's a premeditated action. And of course, the Tinubu himself could not be absorbed in this case because he is the leader of APC. And he has a stakeholder. He's a stakeholder as far as Lagos State is concerned. Something couldn't have been going on without his knowledge. He should have been briefed of what is about to take place. It's probably as a result of selfishness and state of greediness that is common among our politicians. He could have perhaps the area has been blocked, the toll gates have been blocked, the revenue coming in has been stopped for over time. Look at people who place more priority on what they get than the life of average Nigerians. The national flag is a symbol of nationality. It represents and defines an entity called Nigeria. How could you imagine that in life that people that are holding the national flag, this is not about IPOB. They are not holding IPOB Biafran flag. This is Nigerian flag for crying loud. And reciting the national anthem, and you have to open fire on them. You can see the level of the type of ammunition that was deployed. This is, I mean, a total war, a total annihilation.
On peaceful protesters.
On peaceful protesters without armless. Did they think that if the youth were armed, can they withstand the youth? Look at the ripple effect of aftermath of this incident. Most areas was overrun by the youth. They vandalized even most of the police stations were razed, were set ablaze. You see, as a result of the reaction from the part of the youth, we are not happy. We have been called to maintain peace and order and to follow due process, which we have maintained over this season. And just to see my fellow youths massacred in this way, do you think I'm happy? Do you think I will ever forget this? It's a traumatic state that we will never forget in history. Whether the UN, whether the United Nations or Community of Nations or the ICC turn their face on this particular issue. This injustice, this genocide, this heinous crime, not just against Nigeria, not just against the Nigerian youth, but against humanity will forever be vindicated. And of course, until that is done, I've told you that, of course, the masses have been the sacrificial lamb before now, but things are turning round. Those people, we must get after them, we must go after their family, until they begin to pay the ultimate price. They will not restrain from this state of anarchy and demonic and inhuman activities. This is the right time to act.
And here we say goodbye to you on today's edition of Bystanders at Newsstands. Join us next time on the same platform. I still remain Michael Adekunle. Behind the camera, I have Femi Davis and Geoffrey. Very good guys, keeping it real on Flip TV. All right, viewers across the globe, have a good weekend.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.